And welcome back to the Quirk Creation series. I would say Quirk Creation series. Quirk Creation series. This comes to us from Luke Cervera, who asked the question, what is the quirk of Captain Falcon? Now, first off, he's dressed actually very much like All Might. But second, I think this was a pretty easy one to figure out. Obviously, he's well known for the Falcon Punch, where, he ignites his hand, hits with a lot of force. His hand's basically on fire and burning. So I think we can work with something like that for the quirk. First and foremost, though, what is this quirk's name, and what does it actually do? What does it actually do? Is he a hero? Is he a villain? What's his handle? So forth and so on. Obviously, he's a hero. I think that's a given. His hero name also would be Captain Falcon, and his signature, hero move would be the Falcon Punch. I've got to do that every time I say it. But what is this quirk called, and what does this quirk actually do? It's obviously a fire-based quirk. I think it's actually, to do the whole President Mike thing. Say, Captain Falcon, his quirk, friction burn. By moving his body and by moving his hands and arms at a certain speed, he can ignite them for a blazing punch of doom. However, he needs to keep moving, otherwise those flames will be doused. That's kind of what as President Mike puts it, that's kind of how the Falcon Punch comes into being. His quirk essentially is a much lesser version of most fire users' quirks, where they can just create flames immediately. He has to move his body, and the faster he moves his body, the hotter a flame he can make. So one of the things he's probably got to do in his quirk training is learn to box, learn to deliver a very fast punch, or even a very fast kick. So his physicality, his fighting combat prowess without his quirk is probably second to none among heroes. He's probably can go hand to hand with just about anyone. But it's because of that he is able to move his hands and body at such speeds that he can activate his quirk. Now, the catch-22 is he most likely, for his hero attire, wears special gloves that prevent just him from igniting things as he moves. Because, like I said, the faster you move, the more friction you create, the stronger flame you create. Unless he's moving slowly as hell, even a casual arm motion could maybe accidentally light sparks, which would make his school life actually very difficult as a kid, because he lighting his paper on fire unnecessarily. So most likely what would be the case is that the gloves he wears, the suit he wears, are similar, I think, to what is his name? The permeable quirk. Lemillion. Come on, what is his name? Lemillion. My Hero Academia. What's his name? Mirio Togata. Mirio. It'd be similar to Mirio's quirk, where his suit is maybe made from parts of his body, or made in a way where he can let loose the flames, basically, or let air come in, as long as he's doing something proper with it. Doing some sort of activation with his clothes allows his quirk to be used, but also prevents his quirk from hurting individuals. Especially like catching him off guard, he'd move so fast he'd just suddenly burst his hands, and he'd burst into flames technically. But there would be a limitation to this quirk. It would only be on his limbs, at least before the awakening. And then there's two ways we can look at the awakening of this quirk. It would only be on his limbs because we really only see Falcon Punch, and I think some kicking motions too in the games. Now, that said, there's two ways you can look at the activation of his quirk, or the awakening of his quirk. One, he can just now ignite his entire body, moving at such high speeds he's like a flaming bullet. Or, and this is the one I think makes more sense for awakening his quirk, he can now just kind of, his body now naturally creates friction with his, just like his skin moves on, and that's just spontaneously create flames. He can still move and make even stronger flames, but he can basically just awakening his quirk now just lets him set his limbs on fire anytime he wants. So that, I think, would be the most obvious way for his quirk to be awakened. That said, the weakness of his quirk, I've already said, are constant movement without the protection of his suit can be dangerous. Also, doesn't matter how fast he moves, unless he can get to, say, plasma levels of heat, water's going to douse his ass. Because plasma is so hot, it actually burns underwater. But, and fire obviously doesn't burn underwater, but like plasma, molten rock, things along those lines still burn underwater. They are doused to a certain degree, but they can still burn. Fire, not the case. So water is still a big weakness for this quirk. Also, this has no long range capacity at all. He has to be up close, which means while his quirk could be devastating against someone like Shigaraki if you hit him correctly, Shigaraki just has to touch him and he gets decayed. So, yeah, it's a double-edged sword. You have to be close, but as long as you can control the fight, it's all good. Still, this I think works as the quirk for Captain Falcon. But this is just my opinion. What do you think in the comments below? Let me know. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you folks for the next one.